Welcome back to Daily Walk Devotion, just a short devotion here to encourage you in your faith and strengthen you in your daily walk with Jesus Christ. And today we're in Daniel again, and we're in Daniel chapter 4, and we're going to be talking about a mighty oak, or the mighty oak has fallen. And of course, this is reference to King Nebuchadnezzar and his pride. And one night he's walking out in his gardens, he's walking out on the top of his palace, and he's looking at everything he's created, and he just swells up with pride. And basically, as I look at all of this is all because of me. And at that moment, God kind of does something. He zaps him, and he kind of goes through this whole thing, and he gives them the kind of the picture of like how an oak tree is cut down. And we get to Daniel chapter 4, verse 27, and we see actually Daniel speaking to him, and he says, "Therefore, your majesty, please be pleased to accept my advice. Renounce your sins by doing what is right, and your wickedness by being kind to the oppressed. It may be then that your prosperity will continue." You know, and Nebuchadnezzar's is like what my grandfather used to say. He got too big for his britches. And he was impressed at the size of his kingdom and took all of the credit for it. And to correct that, God gave him a dream, which Daniel interpreted. And the king was a mighty tree that is cut down. And he would lose his kingdom and graze with the animals for 7 years. 7 years as an animal. Ouch. And, you know, that had to hurt not only his physical, but also his pride. And pride always leads us to falling. Nebuchadnezzar was powerful, but he was too impressed with himself. And that's always when people fall, is when they get too impressed with themselves. And so that led to God taking away his power and turning him into an animal for 7 years. And it took that long before he would turn his heart to God. 7 years before Nebuchadnezzar looked up to God and realized what he had done wrong. And then Daniel spoke to him. And so, you know, pride has a strain of stubbornness that runs through it that we often don't realize till it's too late. And so I just want to encourage you guys that we need to make sure that we keep our pride in check. A lot of what we have is because of a blessing that God has given us. And we want to continue to be humble and also not to be so impressed with ourselves and not think too highly of ourselves. You know, nowadays, especially, people love to trumpet how good they are, what good deeds they're doing, or, you know, look at me kind of thing, just because people are lonely and they crave attention or they crave appreciation. And there's a right way to go about it and there's a wrong way to go about it. And Nebuchadnezzar, you know, he accomplished a lot, but a lot of that was because God was using him, especially in the nation of Israel. And he just thought way too much of himself. And so don't be confused. Don't be fooled. We do not need power or money or fame to suffer from pride. It could, or even stubbornness. It could come from even to the most lowly of person. When people refuse to admit that they're wrong, when people are very critical of other people, when you know, we like to shout out like what we've done. And so I just want to encourage you guys to make sure that that you keep that pride in check, and that you let God do that work in your heart today. All right. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.